Echoes of the forgotten. The old mansion on Elmwood Drive had always been a source of unease for my brothers and me. Ethan, Jake, and I inherited it from our late parents, but none of us were keen on claiming it. Despite our reservations, we decided to spend one weekend there together, hoping to lay old fears to rest. The first night, as we sat in the grand parlor, the oppressive silence of the house seemed to close in around us. Ethan, ever the adventurer, suggested we explore the basement, a place none of us had dared venture into before. Jake and I hesitated, but eventually curiosity won out. The basement stairs creaked under our weight as we descended into the darkness. The air grew colder, and the dim light from our flashlights barely pierced the thick gloom. We found a series of old trunks and crates, covered in dust. Amidst the clutter, there was a heavy locked door we had never noticed before. "Do you remember this door?" Ethan asked, a quiver in his voice. Jake and I shook our heads. None of us had ever seen it, and it felt wrong, like it shouldn't be there. Ethan, always the bold one, decided to force it open. As the door swung open with a groan, a rush of icy air hit us. Inside was a small, empty room with stone walls. In the center there was a wooden chair, and on the walls were old, faded pictures. One of the pictures caught our attention, a family portrait. Our parents and 3 children, but the faces of the children were blurred, indistinguishable. "Who's the third child?" Jake asked, echoing our collective confusion. None of us had a third sibling. The unease grew into a palpable fear, and we decided to leave the basement. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I heard soft whispers, like someone speaking just out of earshot. I went to check on my brothers. Ethan's bed was empty, and Jake was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as I searched the house, calling their names, but there was no response. I returned to the basement, the last place I wanted to be. The heavy door was ajar, and inside the chair was no longer empty. Ethan sat there, his face pale, eyes wide with terror. Before I could reach him, the door slammed shut, and the room was plunged into darkness. I felt a cold hand on my shoulder, and then nothing. I woke up in my car, parked in front of the house, alone. My brothers were gone, the house empty and silent. I never found out what happened to them or the identity of the third child in the portrait. But the whispers and the feeling of being watched have never left me. The house on Elmwood Drive holds its secrets tightly, and it has claimed more than just a home from our family.